All right, let me talk about the wealth gap, and in particular the safe harbor IRAs. I hear all kinds of people talking about how campaign finance, and that's the biggest problem that we have to solve. And if we don't solve that, we'll never fix it. We'll never fix our problems. Guys, I don't agree with that. I do agree that campaign finance should happen, but I think we're overselling the impact and what it would actually do. It's the 401k system, and in particular, the safe harbor IRA rule that really gets me mad that nobody talks about. And these need to be attacked just as much as campaign finance, just how much bribes the politicians get. This right here can raise half a million to multiple millions of dollars on somebody's 401k. So let's talk about this. Right now, the balance right now is $7,000. However, it's not that bad because there is auto portability kicking in late this year, and as long as somebody finds a job within 6 months, that plan should be rolled over. At least that's what that's how long you are able to stay in your 401k if you don't meet the minimum threshold is 6 months. Right, and then if you're under 1,000, they just send you a check. Before it used to be 5,000 before this year. This you can see the Secure Act up that to 7,000, but again they implemented auto portability, so as long as your new employer has a 401k, it will be rolled over. The Retirement Clearinghouse got basically all the major 401k providers to agree to that later this year. So that's really really good. But I want to show you what's been happening before this year when it was between 1,000 and 5,000. So we have this inflation calculator. 1650 back in 1984 is worth now what 4,996 is worth today. So just under that $5,000 mark. Now let's just say that you worked a job between 1980 and 1984. Let's just say that from 18 to 22, and it was 40 hours, and all that, and you got to this number after 4 years with the growth, with your contributions, all that kind of stuff. Okay. Now, how much would that be worth in 30 years? How much would that be worth today? Let's find out. 1984, I'm just going to stick to March because that's when it bottomed in 2009. Well, $132,000, APY of 11%. Now, if it was, say, if it was 1994 and you threw away, okay, there's five figures. It takes 10 years, but you see how 10 years of growth, how if you just throw that money away from 10 years, you see how this shrinks down? You think, well, I got plenty of time. I can just start later, right? Well, look how much less this is. Now, here's the next thing I want to show you guys. You think, well, it matters what time you end at, right? I'm going to pick the bottom of the market in 2009, which was March of 2009. And I'm going to go back to March of 1979. Watch this number, how much it changes. Not a whole heck of a lot of difference. There is a little bit, but not a lot. Okay? Now, if I do go back to 40 years using the same, we are going to see we are going to see a drastically less number because the 60s and 70s weren't all that great as far as investing goes, but we're still up. Okay, and that's the bottom line I want to show you guys. Um, Now, let's just say we take 1650. Let's go back to 2002. We had the bottom of the market from the dot-com crash back then. And let me just again show you what happens. 1650. So we're going to go to 1962. That's 40 years. And we got $102,000 there. Okay. So, if that goes into so again, a safe harbor IRA will go into a money market. Well, that's the key is it will invest in a money market, in a savings account, in a cash position, or if they just roll you into an IRA, they'll send you into a cash position, and then it's your responsibility to do something. Well, most people don't know what they're doing, and that's what gets me. really ticked off. But people will say, okay, I got plenty of time to invest, so they wait 2 years, so they're 22 now, it's 32. Well, look what that turns into, okay? And then remember you had all that time in between where you could have invested. This turns into you can waste millions of dollars over your career because of these rules. Because of these rules. I call these mass financial destruction accounts because they sit in cash. They don't sit in investments that grow at these rates that you're seeing here. They grow at, again, this um actually December was when it bottomed. Okay, now it's 10%, but I just want to show you what the 1 year did. Let's go to 2001 and hit calculate. You can see it's negative 17%. It went down. Um, so and then in another bad period, I want to show you this. 1974, and let's go back to 1973, and also it bottomed in September. We have a negative almost 30% decline, 29%, right? So let's go back 30 years. So let's just say you hit 1650 and let's see, we need 1944. So 30 years. Yeah, you're just throwing, I mean, that again can be worth, with Social Security, might be worth 1 or 2 years worth of living expenses for somebody. You go back even further. Okay, now it's that much. Okay, and again, it's never gone below 9% in any 30-year period since World War II. The 40-year period is actually about a little more than 8% according to this calculator. Um, and there's other calculators. This is a real simple one where I don't have to put in I don't have to adjust the fees and all that. So I kind of like this one. But this is just following the S&P 500, which Charlie Munger said an idiot can do. Now, there's one other thing I want to mention too. Every time I'm jumping around years, in order to actually get this return, assuming that this is 100% accurate, I mean, I assume it's probably a little bit off, but it's fairly accurate. Um, you also got to remember how the dividend works. The dividends pay you each time, whether it's per quarter, per year, per month, whatever it is. It pays you based on how many shares you own of a fund in that same account, right? So if I'm going to pull out this exact amount, I don't know if I'm pulling out a dividend from, say, that's associated with, say, 1955 or 19 whatever 61 or whatever, because the dividend just pays you a lump sum based on how many. So each stock in the fund declares how much X amount per share is how much they pay you, right? They and it just lumps it all. So you could have bought in shares 30 years ago. You could have bought in shares 5 years ago, 20 years ago, and it just however total many shares it pays you X amount of cents in dollars, right? So I don't know what I'm selling. I can sell my original buy order because I can see what that grew to, but I don't know what the dividend reinvestments are actually worth unless I split them up. So I got to either split them up in different funds or different accounts, and that will take your original investment plus your dividend reinvestment, which is what this includes with dividends reinvested. And then I can make a decision, or I can actually go by time. That will allow me to make a decision based on how much time I am in the market, right? And and then I can now you can still see though it's still without dividends. Now, yeah, it doesn't. I guess this calculator does not give you the without dividends reinvested. There's another one that does, um, but the bottom line is what I do is I use a different fund every year, and then I've been using Fidelity, and I think I probably max out all my Fidelity funds that are good for long-term, low-cost index funds. So I can now go over to probably Charles Schwab and use their IRAs, and there's about maybe funds I can use there. But anyway, just split up the funds, and then that way you can go by how much time that you're in the market. So I hope this helps, and I hope this draws some more clarity on where the inequality is coming from. Guys, eh, I mean, I'm not, again, I'm not saying that the campaign finance reform shouldn't happen. As a matter of fact, I think if we fix these problems and expose this would cause um, campaign finance to happen quicker because we would have more money and more power to demand that. Um, the other thing, and the other thing I want to mention too is what we really need to do is build a bridge between now and when the Secure Act can take over. That's the other thing I didn't mention too yet is the Secure Act has what's called automatic enrollment, and it also allows for auto portability, which is what the Retirement Clearinghouse was able to accomplish. They've been very big on this. Now, yes, I'm sure these guys here are looking to collect money off of that, yes, but sitting in a cash account is a stupid idea. That you will not get anywhere near the returns I just showed you here. So for whatever $45 or whatever they're charging for auto porting it over, you know what? I'm for it. It's a lot better than these stupid things. Um, so automatic enrollment, auto portability, and then also I also got an email too from Betty McCollum. I sent her an email message about this, and she sent me a response saying one of the things that she worked on was pension buyouts. So some people, so like if your pension gets in trouble, they can also get uh, bought out. And I know of a person actually who worked for GM in a plant that he said that he wasn't get any retirement benefits, and he found out that he's actually getting some, not the whole thing, but some. And I believe, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I believe there's a provision in the Secure Act from that pension buyout system that allowed this to happen. Maybe somebody can check that out for me, leave a comment down below, and let me know what exactly the rule is. But anyway, guys, this is the cause of the inequality, and this is should be our number one thing we need to fix.